bitches go.
We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Boxing Ego Unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Tyson Fury has a much tougher than expected fight with Otto Wallin. What does this mean for his rematch with Deontay Wilder? We unpack, coming to you live. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the Super Chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, and the Patreon family. We working. Now, Tyson Fury, he defeated Otto Wallin, I'm not really good with names, via unanimous decision. Some of the scorecards are a little bit wider. I think this was a competitive fight, and you know, experience kind of paid off for Tyson Fury. As you guys see on my Twitter, trending in the United States, Tyson Fury, and right beneath that, Deontay Wilder is trending. You know, it's funny how that works. So the names are linked, obviously, Wilder and Fury, so they're both trending. Tyson Fury defeats Otto Wallin, unanimous decision, despite suffering a huge gash above his eye. You know, he had a cut. It was very... Someone said, Deontay Wilder, you are next, and posted this video. Yeah, Tyson Fury had to work for this one. I think his performance, he had good spots in it, but definitely not his best work. Even his own trainer, Davison, said this would make Tyson Fury, because even on his worst night, he can still do that. Horrific gash on the right eye. Tyson Fury round 3. I thought it was round 2, but I might be off. But the Gypsy King gets the job done, showing grit and determination. You know, one of the things I really want to unpack is, what does this mean? What does this really mean for the Wilder fight? Everybody knows the Wilder is supposed to be next. Wilder has to clearly get past Luis Ortiz. That's a good fight. That's a tough fight. And Tyson Fury, he came out with all the histrionics and the theatrics, you know, to, you know, Hispanic singer, and he had a Mexican flag. Andy Ruiz kind of got in his case saying, like, just be yourself. Who are you trying to impress? Why are you doing all this and trying to claim Mexico, and you're not even of Mexican heritage, Mexican descent? You know, you're kind of clout chasing, you know, using this, being a culture vulture. And I agree with Andy Ruiz on that. You know, I don't what Tyson Fury after round 3. Hey, y'all tripping on this internet thing. Wow. So the bottom line is, everyone's talking about the performance. Even his own trainer says it wasn't, you know, his best night. You also have people like John Fury, and this is what he says regarding the fight. John Fury says on Tyson Fury versus Otto Wallin, I've never seen him as bad. He's a lucky man to get the win. If he'd have been in front of any other man tonight, Wilder, Ruiz, he would have been coming away. He wouldn't be coming away the winner. He wouldn't have beat Povetkin on that performance. So, damn, former trainer John Fury, relative, family member, is saying this. If I had my say, the lot would be gone. If he keeps hold of that team, they're going to cost him his career. I'll say it live on TV. The team around him now, Ben Davison, whatever he's got in charge of the business, needs to have a look in the mirror. You know, so John Fury, some people are going to say sour grapes, but he's expressing his opinion on the fight, and he's saying, you know, he wouldn't have beat Wilder, definitely wouldn't have beat Wilder, Ruiz, let alone even a guy like Povetkin. Like, the cut was nasty, and I don't know. I just want to talk about it. We're gonna unpack it together. See, this is the thing. New media. We've been calling the boxing game fair, consistent, and most importantly, accurate. Top Rank has done their best job to make Tyson Fury almost something that he's not. It kind of reminds me. It puts me in the mindset of Robert Guerrero. Robert Guerrero was an amateur standout, and when he was in the lighter weight divisions, like featherweight and whatnot, fighting Vicente Escobedo, guys like that, he was more tactical. He can box. But after his wife got cancer, beat cancer, and he was on the sidelines in the sport 2-3 years, helping his wife, overcome that sickness. Shout out to them for that. He came back and really kind of he fought Selçuk Aydin and became an interim champion. But then after that, he fought Berto, and he kind of fought Berto a certain way, like a macho way, and smothered him. And I noticed with Robert Guerrero and his dad, his trainer, Ruben Guerrero, you guys like this guy? Beat up his wife. They almost developed a bad habit, and they took Robert Guerrero out of the element that made him successful. He only had one loss before he fought Floyd Mayweather. And they almost tried to reconstruct his DNA and make him into a type of fighter that he simply wasn't. And that's what's wrong in boxing. I don't think you should get with a trainer and change their style, or late in your career, all of a sudden fight this crazy, chaotic style that's not really you. And ever since this ESPN deal, they've been hyping up Tyson Fury, who's a good fighter, but they've been hyping him into something that I feel he simply isn't. He's not a knockout artist at the elite level. He has, he's knocked out Derek Chisora in a rematch. Steve Cunningham, who's really a cruiserweight, campaigning, and he got dropped in that fight. But if I pull up his box rec, you're not gonna see a lot of his fights end by knockout. And if they do, or at least his recent fights, and if they do end by knockout, it's not like the same. It's not like Julian Jackson, Deontay Wilder, Errol Spence, like violent, rough, brutal stuff, right? See, look, 29-20. The record looks cool, but when you look at the people, the top guys he fought. So Otto Wallin, he didn't knock him out. Tom Schwartz, he did knock out. Didn't knock out Wilder. Francisco Pianeta, who had a record of 35-4 and is unknown, smaller than him, he didn't knock out. Safiri weighed 210. He didn't knock him out, right? Klitschko, he didn't knock him out. Christian Hammer didn't knock. Oh, I guess that was a knockout in the Chisora. And then Joey Abel and stuff. So he has a couple, but Kevin Johnson, that's the one Anthony Joshua knocked out that he didn't knock out. And then you get to these names, like the domestic level guys, he was able to knock out, some of them. But against the better opposition, he hasn't really knocked them out. And what ESPN did is they piggybacked off of the success of Wilder Fury 1 and Showtime, and they interrupted and disrupted the immediate rematch between Wilder and Tyson Fury, and really fucked it up because they interjected their own agenda to something Tyson Fury was in deep negotiation. I know I have connects, and I'm not going to get into all the sources, but Tyson Fury and Wilder were in deep negotiations for the second fight. They were even talking. Devin Haney hadn't really officially announced he was signing to Eddie Hearn at this point. They were going to fight at the Barclays, and they were looking at putting Devin Haney on the card too, and they had it all pretty much worked out. Contracts had been sent, and then Wilder admits, he told you guys, like in interviews, all of a sudden his team went cold and got radio silent, so they knew something had to be up. And they're like, whoa, what is this? What gives? And then shortly later, it was announced that he was teaming up with Top Rank and Bob Arum, ESPN, and that's his own choice. If they made him a deal he couldn't refuse, that's cool. But ESPN and Top Rank, they tried to save Tyson Fury. They knew he went through a hellish 12th round with Deontay Wilder, so they wanted to make sure his bearings were back, which is what I said from the beginning. They wanted to put Tyson Fury in low-level opposition, low-level fights, which he should have maybe did before he fought Wilder to begin with, instead of going through it, outboxing Wilder in some of the middle rounds, and then nearly getting knocked out, totally in the 12th round and getting dropped earlier, after that. So now they're trying to make up for lost time and give him what his whole team told Tyson Fury. Oh, don't fight Wilder. This is career suicide. The fans told him. People were like, Tyson Fury's crazy. Guys like Eddie Hearn was doing interviews and saying, oh, this is not the Fury that beat Klitschko. He's getting knocked out. He's going to get sparked out, because that's what everyone thought. And now they're trying to reverse time and give tune-up fights to Tyson Fury, which he should have probably took from the beginning and made that smart decision. But the thing is, you can't reverse time like that. Wilder is an immense puncher, probably the biggest puncher in boxing, that I would say, even more so than Inoue, because Inoue is hurting guys. The guys can't deal with his power. But Wilder, I've seen him have people have seizures on the ground, like big guys that were bigger than Wilder. Inoue's actually, if you really look at it, Inoue's bigger than some of the guys he's fighting, a lot of the guys he's fighting. Whereas Wilder can weigh 209 and almost knock out Tyson Fury, who weighed in the day before 254 or so and then rehydrated. So I think Wilder's the biggest puncher in boxing. You can't reverse that. You got to psychologically, physically, you can't reverse that. So they've been putting him in with low-level opposition, and this Otto Wallin fight, it almost came back to bite them. And to me, this did Tyson Fury absolutely no favors. Yes, some fans are going to see this and be like, oh, he's such a bloody warrior. Key word, bloody. He is a bloody warrior. He showed that. He showed heart, but getting up from the Wilder. See, boxers got to be smart. Getting up from the Wilder 12th round showed me that Tyson Fury had heart. If he didn't have heart, he would have just sat there, laid there, got counted out or whatever. So a performance like this against opposition like this, if anything, you made Otto Wallin relevant and ushered him into his next payday. Me personally, as a fan, I didn't know too much about Otto Wallin. I seen him fight on one ShoBox card. I think it might have been on the Clarissa Shields undercard, and his guy got injured or something weird happened. I forgot what it was, but I think his opponent got injured and the fight was kind of lackluster. So I learned more about Otto Wallin in this fight. Now I don't have a problem. I'll check for Otto Wallin. I'm not checking for Tom Schwartz because he laid a dud. He didn't really do nothing. But Otto Wallin, he showed that he could at least hang and compete. He was fucking durable, and he hurt Tyson Fury. So somebody who might not be as big as Tyson Fury, might not have the heart of Tyson Fury, might not box like him, and now with his newfound experience, Otto Wallin might give him problems and or beat them. So I'll check for Otto Wallin. So what Tyson Fury did is similar to what Andy Ruiz was given by Anthony Joshua. If anything, your stock went down and that person's stock went up. The only difference is Tyson Fury showed heart and got the victory, whereas Anthony Joshua got knocked out and lost. So this is unnecessary. Again, we need no one to tell us that Tyson Fury had heart. If you look at his Wilder fight, we knew he had heart from that. So that's not a good, to me, it wasn't a good performance. It's good in the sense that, like, if you want to just say, oh, a victory is a victory, a win is a win, I got it, ha ha ha. But the way he was looking, there's just so many. We're gonna break it down, but I want to show you guys what Lennox Lewis, he said the same thing. He said Fury gets the win, Wallin's stock rises. Without a doubt, the most impressive job of the night was Fury's cutman. And I disagree with him on that last part. I don't really think it was I'm not trying to rip his cutman. I don't think it was so much the cutman. I think Wallin's inexperience helped the cut, stay settled. Plus they were putting a shit ton of Vaseline on it, but more importantly, I think whatever his name is, Wallin, I think his lack of aggression in spots and inexperience allowed the cut to settle a little bit, so it didn't become an overwhelming problem. I don't think it was because if you notice, the cut was still opening up and leaking in every fucking round versus Floyd Mayweather when he had a cut with Maidana. Rest in peace to Rafael Garcia. That cut after the early rounds where the blood was in his eye, Maidana was rough as fuck in the first fight I'm talking about, was rough as fuck with Floyd Mayweather, and the cut was never really an issue. This cut with Tyson Fury, that's why I disagree with Lennox Lewis. This cut with Tyson Fury was still splattering and opening up, but I think it was the game plan of Otto Wallin where he kind of got lured into Tyson Fury's. Tyson Fury, he kind of put some pep in his step, and he had a sense of urgency, and Wallin lacked experience when Tyson Fury was like trying to bull and burrow his way in and lean on him and smother his work and stuff like that. He didn't really have a solid answer to dip out, shoot the uppercut, jab to keep Tyson Fury from coming in, because Tyson Fury was shrinking down performance-wise and stuff like that. These things, the mistakes that Tyson Fury was making in this fight, I don't see him getting away with against Deontay Wilder, Luis Ortiz. I think those guys are too good, too quick, too much power. Otto Wallin, he's lucky he was in there with somebody who nobody gave a shot to. That was a 25-30 to 1 underdog and shit like that. But anyway, Lennox Lewis says, I see Fury giving away too many advantages and making this a more difficult fight than it has to be, which is exactly how I seen it. So, some people are going to say Tyson Fury was exposed in this particular performance. Again, this is unnecessary. Again, cuts, I get that cuts happen, so please don't tell me the obvious. Cuts can happen, but the cut opened from a flush punch. It wasn't a headbutt. His team seemed a little bit in disarray. They're saying that the cut was from a headbutt, and then ESPN reporter told them, like, no, they reviewed it, and they had no knowledge of that. And kind of some of the corner work, I didn't really see anything too exceptional. They were just saying, oh, you're wearing him down, I promise you. And he wasn't really wearing Otto Wallin down like that. Like, he never came close to stopping him. So I don't think Tyson Fury did himself any favors. I think he came out with all this bravado and showmanship, and he like the singing. Where was the singing post fight? Tyson Fury, after he beat Tom Schwartz, that was an easy night of work, So he was singing Aerosmith. Why wasn't he singing after this? Because his eye was mad messed up. He needs stitches, and it wasn't that type of performance. And then post-fight, Tyson Fury, for him to scream out Wilder's name and, oh, fight me, Wilder, yeah, bum. This stuff doesn't sound believable. And to me, this is just my opinion. We Unpack, coming to you live. To me, it makes Tyson Fury look worse that he's trying to do kind of the same antics and the same gimmicks off the heels of that performance, because it doesn't sound believable. Now, if Tyson Fury looked like Devin Haney looked this weekend, and then he said, come on, Wilder, fight me, you bum, then I wouldn't have no issue with that, because Devin Haney looked supreme and sensational, right? But off of that performance, first of all, just let's dissect what Tyson Fury said. You said, I want to fight you next, you bum, Wilder, you're a bum, blah, 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 right? First of all, it's already in the contract. I'm telling you, that's why it feels like Tyson Fury, he didn't know what to say, so he just kind of reverted back to his old bag of tricks. It was really unoriginal, and it didn't make sense. You already have a contract to fight Wilder. Why would you have to proclaim? It was like almost like nervous energy. You get what I'm saying? You have a contract, you said, that you were willing to sue Wilder if he doesn't adhere to fight him in February 2020. So why would you need to say, I need to fight Wilder, I want to fight Wilder next, come on Wilder, you bum? So it was like you did that for no reason, and it's just it's not viable. It's like kind of like when a kid starts crying because they can't have their binky, their pacifier, and their parents just allow them to cry, and they just like kind of look kind of silly for doing that. I think that's kind of how it was with the Wilder call out. That was unnecessary. I want to fight you next, Wilder. But either way, it doesn't look believable. It doesn't look believable at all that you're calling him a bum when you just fought a guy nobody's ever heard of, and we're in a struggle fight, a life and death. Your face looked horrible. The defense didn't look on point. Your own pops, John Fury, former trainer, saying you wouldn't have made it past Povetkin or anybody top Wilder, Ruiz looking like that in that performance. He looked terrible. Ben Davis said you didn't look good, and now you're calling Wilder a bump. It doesn't sound right. It sounds really weird. The other thing is Wilder's such a bum, but he knocked you out. You admitted you were eyes closed, you were asleep for at least 4 or 5 seconds. And then Jack Reese kind of awoke you, and then you're like, oh, I figure I must got knocked down, then you got back up. So I don't know. I just feel like new media, we've been on point. The walls are closing in. All the gimmicks and antics and stuff like that, it doesn't really sound believable. What ESPN is trying to do with Tyson Fury, it doesn't sound believable. They are trying to make it like Tyson Fury is this knockout artist. They even said this in the telecast, people. In the telecast, they said, oh, one punch from Tyson Fury could definitely change everything. And I'm like, one punch from Tyson Fury? He's not even a one punch type of knockout. Even Errol Spence is a powerful, heavy-handed, strong puncher, as is Sergey Kovalev. But they're not necessarily one punch knockout punchers either. Like, you get what I'm saying? They can hit you hard as fuck, but they're not necessarily gonna knock you out with one punch. If anything, one punch could set up the onslaught that knocks you out. There's not that many one punch knockout artists where they hit you with one shot and then you might be asleep. You know how Juan Manuel Marquez did to Pacquiao. There's not so many as much as you think. There's different levels and severities of power. There's different types of power, those types of things. So some people are heavy thudding. Some people just disconnect you and shut your lights out. You cannot get hit flush by them. Sledgehammer, crazy power. But this is a reporter. I think he works with PBC, but it says the announced attendance was 8,249. The 5,000 or so people that got free tickets got way more than their money's worth in the main event. So he's like, he's being funny and saying they comped 5,000 tickets. But the point is this: the announced attendance was 8,249. Top Rank, they said Tyson Fury is this huge attraction in Vegas, right? His last fight, they announced the attendance at 9,000 and some change. So how is he fighting Otto Wallin, who I've seen at least one fight of Otto Wallin prior to this fight. I told you he was on the Showbox card, and he looked better in the YouTube highlight reels and stuff than Tom Schwartz. So Top Rank told you that Tyson Fury and Tom Schwartz sold 9,000 plus tickets, but then the attendance to this one is over 1,000 less. So it just doesn't sound real. It doesn't sound believable. I believe they comp tickets, had sales and all types of stuff like that, and this is what Top Rank is doing. They're trying to force feed you that Tyson Fury is this huge Vegas. They even said on the telecast, Tyson Fury is this global sensation, like he's the Michael Jackson of boxing. They're putting it on too thick. ESPN commentary crew raved incessantly over the Tom Schwartz victory and said Tyson Fury is back. Oh my gosh, look at how he looked coming off the Deontay Wilder. He's a knockout artist. They're trying to build him just like Robert Guerrero, when Robert Guerrero started fighting like Macho Man Randy Savage and abandoning his technique and things like that, and being this blood and guts. You guys like this guy? He ran, this whole thing. You got to be who you are. You have to fight and be who you identify with as a fighter. They got Tyson Fury's head gassed up. They talking about him singing Aerosmith and walking out to Apollo Creed music and being this huge Vegas thing. They put a lot of pressure on him. Even when Tyson Fury, he showed heart. But in this Otto Wallin fight, he was honestly loading up on all of his punches and grunting, really trying to get Otto Wallin out to no avail. Like, it wasn't working. He can't do that. You can't load up on all these fighters who are like Wilder and Luis Ortiz, who are going to be a lot more experienced and quicker and have probably heavier hands. Well, not probably for Wilder, but Luis Ortiz, all these guys have heavier hands than Otto Wallin and a lot more experience. Luis Ortiz is a southpaw. That cut on his face was on his left side, if I'm not mistaken. So that alone, this would have been a nightmarish fight, you know, because actually he had 2 cuts. You know, this would have been a nightmare for him to fight guys like Wilder and Ruiz even, and Deontay Wilder and stuff like that. It just wouldn't have been a good night. And I think Top Rank and ESPN kind of put this pressure and precedence on him. He's a huge attraction. And then now he coming out here fighting like Rambo. But to me, Tyson Fury should have just been concerned with getting the rounds in and preserving himself for the Wilder fight. But in this particular performance, what he has done has given, I'm sure, everybody confidence in the division that he is beatable. You know, I'm not saying just anyone can beat him, but let's check in with Andy Ruiz. This is what Andy Ruiz said. Tyson Fury said, and see, I think Tyson Fury, he got kind of like Ronda Rousey. When the hype starts getting great, the money's getting great, you start believing your own like legend, you know, you're a legend in your own mind, and start believing the hype, and you have performances like this. It's just not good. Same thing what they did with Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey went to the Olympics for judo, but they had her trying to stand up and saying she was this machine and she could beat Cyborg and she could knock out Mayweather, and they try to turn her to a striker. That's not her bag. That's not her MO. That's not what she excels at. Why are you trying to turn her into a stand-up girl? And then she fights Holly Holm, gets kicked in the fucking head, gets her head knocked off. You know, she fights Amanda Nunes, who can really strike, you know, who has powerful, heavy hands, and she gets tore up in 45 seconds or whatever. Tyson Fury, he really, you know, he really did some things. He was talking about he could, and see, this is the thing. Tyson Fury does a lot of trolling. He does a lot of trolling. Oh, Joshua's a bum. He needs to retire if he loses to Ruiz again. Ruiz is a more storied and accomplished fighter and more known about. Even before the first Joshua fight, he at least fought Joseph Parker for a title. So he's definitely more up for the part, you know, to play spoiler. You almost had somebody play spoiler who no one's ever fucking heard of. You know, Ruiz, he at least been through Freddie Roach and Abel Sanchez, and now he's with Manny Robles as trainers. He fought for a title in a guy's backyard in New Zealand. He was with Top Rank. Now he's with PBC. He sparred with Evander Holyfield when he was 21 years old. And you're telling Joshua he should retire if he loses to Andy Ruiz again, and roasting him, and Wilder's a bum, shithouse dosser, and saying all that. He said he could beat Ruiz, the fat chubby kid with one hand tied behind his back. It's like he started believing his own hype more than the actual training and the performance, because I don't think this was the performance that would really catapult. If anything, this performance exposed more flaws and gave people confidence. Case in point, Andy Ruiz, this is his response. After that performance, there is no way he beats me with a hand tied behind his back. Straight up. And look how many people liked it. You know, you can go to any of the forums and see what people are saying. And at the end of the day, it's looking bad for old media. It's looking real bad. You know, this is not his best work. Someone said they robbed that kid. Lucky he didn't lose off the cut. You know, and they showing, look, the Top Rank showing clips of where Tyson Fury was doing some good work. Wallin showed a ton of heart. Great fight by the two warriors. Great chin by Wallin. Fury lost the fight. Look at his face after the fight. 7-footer with no power. Damn, he is a good boxer, but no power. Will he ever knock someone out? You know what I'm saying? Like this didn't really go his way. But this is the video where he calls Wilder a bum. It says, Deontay Wilder, I want you next, bum. Tyson Fury calls out Deontay Wilder. Fury went, look, Boxing Habit says, Fury went life and death with the cherry. Fury just boosted Fury just boosted Wilder's confidence with a performance like that. See, I know what I'm saying. Someone said Fury over Wilder, but whatever. Off of that performance, that wasn't, it just wasn't the best look. Wilder's gonna kill him. Wilder's a bum. See, people are saying the crazy stuff, but a lot of that's a fake belt. I don't know. I feel like they tried so hard to force feed you Tyson Fury that it probably got to his head, to be honest. It probably got to his head. And he went in there thinking like he can. It just doesn't sound believable. He just thinking he's don't have to work for it or whatever. I don't know. I can't really speak for him on what he thinks, but the bottom line is it just wasn't his best work. And this is the downside to letting fights marinate, taking tune-up after tune-up, and Top Rank and ESPN and Frank Warren and all them in cahoots doing this deal. They came close to the Wilder fight not even happening. Now we have to see how Wilder looks versus Luis Ortiz, but I promise you, if Wilder gets past Luis Ortiz easier than he did in the first fight, because he said he was sick in the first fight, if he gets past him, Wilder's confidence is going to go skyrocket. Tyson Fury, this is his last everlasting performance, the last memory of being in the ring. Going into the Wilder fight, a guy we know can hurt you and put you down, plus you might have scar tissue all up in here. It's not a good look to me. I think Tyson Fury should have fought smarter, and instead of trolling Joshua and Ruiz and saying Dillian White's a bum and Wilder's a bum, focus more on the task at hand, because nothing is given. It's the heavyweight division. He really made Otto Wallin a star. Someone said he is not a champion. Wilder and Ruiz are the champions. Boxing is a fickle sport. What have you done for me lately? Lineal with back-to-back tune-up fight. People are now they're laughing at it, and he, like I said, he showed heart. But what ESPN has built up, it didn't live to that, especially with the choice opponent. They said he was the Terrence Crawford of the heavyweight division. I didn't see this remarkable defense. When Floyd got a cut versus Maidana, his defense was still tack sharp. So it just proves that who's telling you real commentary and who's not. Tim Bradley said that Tyson Fury was the Terrence Crawford of the heavyweight division, and he's ambidextrous and skill set of a light heavyweight, middleweight, or whatever. All this stuff that they built him up. Tyson Fury's defense. His defense is so good, but he got hit with a punch that opened up a flush punch that opened up a nasty cut to start everything off. He got in a fight where he was outboxing Wilder, he got dropped. And then a couple rounds later, in the final round, he gets dropped and virtually knocked out. Dropped. But this is why I tell you guys all the time with the double standards. Look at how they treat black fighters. Like, there's a lot of black fighters who have crazy slick defenses, and they be all types of bitches and runners and pussies and shit like that. And then Tyson Fury, he's fainting and doing some defense, which is cool. And then they act like they're blown away, like we've never seen this. We never seen Andre Ward's face don't be looking like this in the end of the fights. He fought southpaws before. He fought big punchers like Kovalev and Carl Froch and Sakio Bika and Edison Miranda. So to me, I think, like I said, Fury should probably focus on less of the taunting of other heavyweights and just focus on the task at hand, because against Otto Wallin, he was in a much tougher than expected fight. And you can blame and make excuses for the cuts. That's boxing. It comes with the territory. He showed heart. He persevered, but the fight was close. And like I said, this is the downside with letting fights marinate in tune-ups, he came close to, potentially not having to happen. He was hurt in the 12th round. It was very easy and apparent to see. So it makes you wonder against somebody who's more formidable, like a Wilder or Luis Ortiz, how he would have looked. So I'm not convinced that he's fully recovered mentally and physically from the power punching of Wilder. And it makes you wonder if Wallin had a bit more experience, maybe a bit more pop, what this fight would have been and how it would have turned out. So I think Fury should go back to the drawing board. John Fury says he should switch his whole team up. I don't know. That's up to him. I gotta probably watch it again to see what I assess in an additional viewing. But Fury has some things to think about. I know for a fact guys like Ruiz, if Ruiz beats Joshua again, his confidence is gonna be, man. Tyson Fury, I don't see how he could be that confident off of that performance. It just wasn't his best thing. You know what I mean? And I know Wilder's probably salivating and he hasn't responded to it yet, but that performance definitely energized Wilder. I can assure you that. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens next, but I definitely feel like that is the type of performance where Wilder's like, okay, I know what I did in the first fight. I got this one. I'm gonna bring it to him the second time. I think in the first fight, Wilder kind of overshot his shot. He was just, it was the till this day and all that happened. I'm not making excuses because the fight was a draw. Wilder's still a WBC champion. It's not like he lost. You guys can cry and lie and say he lost, but it was ruled a draw. He has the belt, and I think that's a fair decision. But the thing is, I think Wilder kind of got a little bit too trigger happy. He was telegraphing the right hand, things like that. And then he also celebrated prematurely. The adrenaline started leaving your body, and then Fury somehow got back up, and then you had to try to finish him off. You're like, oh shit, what the hell? I know he wasn't expecting that. I don't think no one is. So I don't know. I just don't think Wilder's gonna make the same type of mistakes twice. And we'll see how it all plays out. But based on that performance, I think Tyson Fury, he's lucky to advance. That fight could have been stopped on cuts. If it hadn't been Tyson Fury in the ESPN headliner, that fight could have been stopped easily because those cuts were nasty. And just so you, in case you don't want to hear from new media, hear from Terrence Crawford. That cut nasty, and it was from a punch. Terrence Crawford. Anybody else, this fight would have been stopped from these cuts. You get what I'm saying? So if you know boxing, but on Top Rank and ESPN, they're gonna give Tyson Fury every benefit of the doubt and every angle to try to come back. This is exactly what they're doing, why they're putting him in with these tune-ups. But the cherry pick, well, the cherry was a bit sour. The tomato struck back. So that's just what it is. But this plan almost backfired. They gave Tyson Fury confidence booster tune-up fights. And then now you see you just made somebody more relevant and you showed some flaws in your own game. I don't see how Tyson Fury is going to be the favorite going into the Wilder fight unless Wilder gets equally banged up in the Luis Ortiz fight. Like if he's drunk and, Luis Ortiz almost knocks him out and then he comes back and knocks him out, maybe. But if Wilder breezes past Luis Ortiz, he has to be the clear favorite. So we'll see how it all plays out. New media. I can't wait. I can't wait to see all this because now we're going to see who knows their shit and all the stuff y'all been saying in the comment section. We'll see what's what. Let me know what you guys think. We unpacked. That's my thoughts. I just feel like Tyson Fury kind of got too big for his britches, especially with the way ESPN and Top Rank were advertising him. They had him believe in his own legend, like the shit was gonna come easy. You beat a guy like Klitschko. But then you struggle with the style of Otto Wallin. So, fighters say they didn't underestimate somebody, but in their heart, maybe he's like, man, I beat Klitschko. People think I beat Wilder. This shit's gonna be easy, but it really wasn't. Let me know what you guys think. We unpack. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.